Hi, I'm Dr. Robin Koslowitz, YouTube's post-traumatic parenting expert. Today, we're gonna look at a Reddit question about a child missing school and a child having another sibling, and unpack the parent's concern and see what a child psychologist would say. So, how detrimental would it be to miss 3 months of kindergarten? Is this something you sometimes think about? You sometimes worry that you're doing something with your child that could be detrimental and you're really concerned about it. How do we think about school and kindergarten as a child psychologist? If this is something you think about, if as a post-traumatic parent, you sometimes worry you're making the wrong decisions for your kids, then you're in the right place. That's the kind of thing we talk about. So click subscribe below so we never miss another episode. If you've ever wondered how a child psychologist would answer some of those Reddit questions, now you're gonna find out. So here's the question. How detrimental would it be to miss 3 months of kindergarten? So this is a very complicated case. This mother is pregnant. She's on a military base overseas. And the military base that she's on does not handle complications in pregnancy, so she is going to have to go to a hospital in a different military base that does not have a preschool for her older 5-year-old child, and her second baby has to be born there. Her husband's going to be deployed elsewhere, so she's not going to have a lot of parenting support, and she's very worried that getting pregnant, if she's going to cause also that now that she's pregnant, she's causing all sorts of harm to her older child, and that her child missing out on school is going to have all sorts of detrimental effects. So let's think about kindergarten and what kindergarten does. So here's what she's saying. Honestly, I'm more anxious about my 5-year-old missing out on school than this whole birthing process. I don't care about delivering alone, having to travel for birth or whatnot. I'm most worried about my older daughter missing out on important months of her school life. Maybe the second child isn't a great idea. Will having another family member compensate for the 3 months of kindergarten, or is it too much of a sacrifice? I'm jealous of other families who don't have to think about this. So here's the thing. First of all, let's understand that kindergarten, the function of kindergarten is very simply to allow children to somewhat socialize, to somewhat learn how to be a student, to be separated from a parent for a portion of the day in the care of someone who is not an attachment figure, but is literally in loco parentis, which means in lieu of a parent, and to get along with other kids. And that's it. The function of kindergarten is not to read Shakespeare. The academic stuff is not all that important. Mostly the function of kindergarten is getting along with other kids and socializing and learning those emotional and social skills that we need for life. You know that famous essay, Everything I Need to Know in Life I Learned in Kindergarten? Those are the life lessons. Can a child learn those life lessons at home from a parent? Absolutely. Not only that, but the best way to learn those life lessons about being kind to others and taking turns and sharing resources and not always acting on our emotions and, taking turns, allowing other people to go first sometimes, not cheating, being kind, all of those skills. You know where else we learn them besides kindergarten? We learn them in sibling relationships. We learn them by having a sibling who is smaller and weaker and needs our attention and needs our time. And sometimes we have to, go second. Sometimes mom's busy diapering the baby and I want her to read me a book, but I have to wait, right? And sometimes we have to be kind to a younger child who is less developmentally ready than we are to do certain things, right? We're walking to the playground and my younger sibling walks slower than me and I'm eager to get there, but my younger sibling's gonna walk slowly and I have to slow my pace to accommodate that. That teaches me kindness. That teaches me how to regulate my own intense emotions because another human needs me to. Right? That teaches me to be giving, to have intersubjectivity skills, which means I want to read that person's mind so that I can help understand where they're coming from, what they need from me. And yes, sometimes our siblings also teach us how to fight. They teach us how to have a good fight, a good conflict. And handled well, sibling conflict, I don't mean sibling bullying, and I don't mean when there's like a golden child or any of those family dynamics. I mean those typical fights where, we have a 5-year-old and an 11-year-old, and the 11-year-old knocks over the 5-year-old's Lego tower because the 5-year-old called them a mean name, or, we're walking slowly to the playground and the 11-year-old says, hurry up already, I want to get there, right? A typical normal fight. There's the last donut or the last ice cream cone or, the slightly bigger slice of, chocolate cake, and we're fighting over it. When we have a good fight, we learn how to have a productive, appropriate conflict. We learn how to share resources. We learn how to manage our emotions and our frustration even when it's hard. We learn that that's what siblings are. Siblings are a social learning laboratory. And actually the best thing you can do for an older child is expose them to babies. There's actually a research study where they took acting out kindergarteners and acting out slightly older children, and they brought babies to their classroom and they taught them how to attune to the baby and how to soothe the baby and how to notice the baby's cues, how to read to the baby, play with the baby. I think it was like babies and toddlers, and there was a noticeable marked increase in the social skills of these formerly disruptive children. So being around babies, not only like, should I not have gotten pregnant, my poor kid, I'm having a second child, opposite. You're doing, in many ways, the best thing you can for this older child by giving her a baby sibling and giving her a built-in social learning laboratory that will give her all of the skills she could learn in kindergarten. And by going away with you for 3 months and not going to school, you can give her time to acclimate to the fact that there's going to be a younger baby and to talk about how we take care of a baby. You could have her be part of, the baby's caregiving team. She's actually going to be an attachment figure, a very, very, very distant attachment figure. She has no caretaking responsibilities. We are not parentifying her. What I am saying is babies like being around people that they're around a lot and that feel safe. So an older sibling is a person whose voice the baby recognizes, whose smell the baby recognizes, whose touch the baby recognizes, and the baby feels like, oh yeah, I know that voice. That voice is higher pitched than mom's or dad's, but I like that voice because I hear it all the time. Oh, I know those hands, those little hands. They're gentle, they stroke me, they talk to me. Ooh, when the baby gets a little bigger, that's somebody who I like to play with. They're more fun sometimes than mom or dad. They have more energy. Again, not saying that they have to be parentified, not at all. Absolutely not, perish the thought. But that a sibling can be a positive presence in a younger sibling's life. My 12-year-old daughter, I actually have a 7-year-old and a 12-year-old. And my 12-year-old daughter told me that she has this wonderful surprise that she thought of something great. My 7-year-old is having a very hard time remembering which is her right foot and which is her left foot, and her sneakers really are very similarly shaped, and it's a little hard to tell. Like even when she shows them to me, I have to think for a second because they're confusing. So my older daughter wrote my younger daughter's name inside her sneakers. So my younger daughter's name is Perry, so she wrote P-E in the left shoe and R-I in the and R-R-I in the right shoe, and that way when my daughter looks down at her shoes, the side that's, I think it's P-E-R, the side that says P-E-R is her left foot, and the side that says R-I is her right foot. And she doesn't have to ask, she doesn't have to wonder, and it's in the insole, so she doesn't have to think about it. So the fact that my 12-year-old sat down and thought it over and thought, my little sister is struggling with something. This is hard for her. This is confusing for her. How can I help her? And then she used her intersubjectivity skills. She put herself into the brain of a 7-year-old. What did I know when I was 7? You know what I knew when I was 7? I had just learned how to read. And you know what I knew how to read? I knew how to read my name. So I know what I could do. she knows how to read her name. So if it says P-E-R and then R-I, she knows what order those letters go in. So I can put that into the insole of her shoe and she will never make that mistake again. And then my daughter came to me with this brilliant idea she had and showed me the shoes. And I was so proud of her. Not only proud of her brains for thinking of it, I didn't think of it. Brilliant idea, I didn't think of it. But also that she had the intersubjectivity skills to think through, what does my little sister need? How can I help my little sister with this? This is a problem. My little sister is having this problem. I want to help her. Let me think of a solution. That is social learning. That is a skill that is going to stand my older daughter in good stead for the rest of her life, wherever she goes, as a, as an employee one day, as a boss perhaps, as, I don't know, the president of the universe. I mean, the sky's the limit for her dreams. I think she will be able to use, though I don't care what job she wants. I think right now she's, vacillating between actress and pet therapist and maybe psychologist like her mom. So in any of those fields, being able to read the mind of another human and to be kind, to be a good friend, those skills are going to stand her in very good stead for the rest of her life. Am I saying that my children never fight? Let me disabuse you of this notion, lest you think that because I am a clinical child psychologist, my children never fight and like we have this perfect childhood and everything is great. My kids fight. They will sometimes call each other names. They will sometimes use each other's possessions without permission. They will sometimes grab the last slice of chocolate cake that their sibling was reaching for. They will fight over the window seat and the middle seat and the aisle seat and the, what music to play in the car and what book we're going to read at bedtime and the last orange corner Lego piece. I mean, there is no limit to the amount of things siblings can find to fight about. And yet when we fight, and we've taught them how to have a good, productive conflict. Like, how do we resolve this problem? Anger identifies a problem. Problems have solutions. People cannot be problems because people cannot be solved. So we are going to solve the problem, not the person. The problem of my sister grabbed the last piece of chocolate cake is a problem of insufficient chocolate cake. It's an insufficient resources problem. It's not a my sister problem. So insufficient chocolate cakes can be split in half, and then we can each have a slightly smaller piece. We can wait our turn, and tomorrow she got the last piece today, you get the first piece tomorrow. There are many, 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 many options to solve the conflict of you have the corner orange Lego piece, or you called me a mean name, or you want the window seat, the aisle seat, right? There's many ways to resolve that problem. My little sister's walking too slow, my big sister's walking too fast. These problems are infinitely solvable, and it's important for a child to learn in the social learning laboratory that is siblings, to learn how to share resources, solve conflicts, get along with other people, read other people's minds, be kind to smaller humans than us. So not only are you not doing the worst thing in the world for your child by taking her out of kindergarten in 3 months in order to provide her with a younger sibling, you're actually very possibly doing the best thing ever. I strongly suggest to this mom and any parent who's wondering about how to get an older child used to the idea of having a younger sibling and prepare them for it. My favorite book on this topic, there are many, but my favorite book on this topic is a wonderful book by the late, great Amy Krauss Rosenthal, illustrated by Peter Reynolds. It is called Little Miss Big Sis. I don't have it with me, but it's like Little Miss will be a big sis, will be a big sis, will be a big sis. And then it's this whole adorable book that even a 3-year-old can understand about Little Miss who's becoming a big sis and all the beautiful things that it's a real celebration of the big sibling relationship and how wonderful a big sibling can be in a smaller sibling's life. So this idea that, oh my gosh, especially for post-traumatic parents that thought that like, how can I inflict this damage on my child? Now they're going to have a sibling and then I'm going to have to share resources. Yeah, you might have to share resources a little bit. You know what? It's going to happen. If you have a 5-year-old and a newborn baby, it is going to happen that the 5-year-old falls down and hurts themselves while you are changing the baby's diaper or bathing a very slippery baby, and you can't immediately come and run and drop everything because baby everything cannot be dropped in order to tend to the very little 5-year-old's needs. It is true. It is very, very, very true. And it is also true that even the beneficial is toxic in the excess, as Winnicott says. It is true that by not having perfection from a parent, and the parent couldn't come immediately, and you say, 1 minute, you are so sad, you fell down, I'm just gonna dry the baby off really quickly and then come get you, the child learns that like they can wait, and that it's tolerable, and that mom, this is a little bit of a rupture, but mom's gonna engage in repair, and they can understand that sometimes someone else's needs come before mine, and that's how we don't end up raising entitled adults who like can't handle standing online in Target. I recently, I'm not joking, was in a parking lot, pulled into a spot, and the woman in the car next to me yelled at me for taking the spot next to her. It's like, honey, that's how parking lots work. You see the painted lines? I'm in my painted lines, you're in your painted lines. I didn't want anyone to park next to me. Really sorry. Hope you get help for whatever that hang up is of yours, because you deserve to heal, and the world doesn't deserve to have you yell at people for parking in the spot next to you. But I parked within my lines, didn't impede you in any way, so you can still open your car door, you can still use your car in whatever way you want. So right? We don't want to raise adults who can't handle the fact that someone pulls into the parking spot next to them. We want to raise adults who know how to share resources, who know how to, sometimes that another human's needs are going to come before yours, right? The person before you in line at Target, maybe, there's an elderly person. I was, in CVS one time, and there was an elderly woman who was paying, this is really sad, she was paying for like cat food, Depends, and like 1 can of tuna fish with pennies. And it was going to take a very, very, very long time. I would hope that we are going to raise a human who can wait patiently for that and not cause more distress to an obviously stressed out person, right? So we want siblings to be able to share resources, and that's how we learn. The most important social skills you can learn in kindergarten, you can also learn from a sibling. So don't overthink this. You're doing a wonderful thing for your daughter by providing her with a sibling. And I wish you so much luck, because it sounds like it's going to be a complicated, stressful situation with your husband deployed, being in an overseas, far away country that's far from your country of origin, where you're not used to, a lot of things there, being on a different military base to give birth, not in your own environment, alone with a toddler and a newborn baby. That sounds like you have a lot to worry about. Don't worry about the fact that you're providing your kid with a sibling. Don't worry about the fact that your kid is missing a couple of months of kindergarten. There are literally countries in the world where there is no such thing as kindergarten. School starts in 1st grade. And they actually do better on pretty much every measure. I believe it's like Denmark or Finland. It's one of the Nordic countries. But the idea is they start school late. Denmark maybe? I'm really not sure. They start school late, and therefore the kids have a lot more time at home, and they learn their social skills from siblings, from their parents taking them to the playground, from the family, from living in a family unit, and anything they didn't know, they learn in 1st grade, and they're fine. So I really wouldn't overthink this. I think you're a fantastic parent, that you care so much and that you're putting so much thought into your daughter's life. Understand the difference between justified and unjustified guilt. You're feeling guilty that you're giving your child a sibling. That is unjustified guilt. That sibling might actually be the best thing for your child. So when you're feeling unjustified guilt, you have to say, hi guilt, welcome. You're reminding me that I care deeply about doing this parenting thing right. Thanks for the information. I really think I'm doing a pretty good job. Appreciate you keeping that check and balance on me and giving me that data. That's what emotions are, they're data. You can go now, because I really think I got this. But thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to hear a clinical child psychologist take on common Reddit parenting threads, do me a favor, click subscribe below so you never miss another episode. If you have a different take on this, if you think I'm wrong about the sibling relationship, if you have a question about what I'm saying about kindergarten not being all that important in the grand scheme of things, I would love to hear what you have to say. So click below to comment, like this video. If you are a post-traumatic parent and you believe in the mission of this project, tell just one friend about the Post-Traumatic Parenting YouTube channel. Tell just one friend friend about the Post-Traumatic Parenting Podcast. If you want to interact with us more and you want to hang out where other post-traumatic parents hang out, check out the Post-Traumatic Parenting community on Instagram. It's at Dr. Kozlowitz Psychology. And please check out the forthcoming Post-Traumatic Parenting book. I cannot wait for it to see the light of day and to be in this world. And I really hope to see you here at the next video. Till next time.